Hi, guys, and welcome back to the What Am I Even Doing podcast. I'm your host, Kenzie, as always, and this is episode 2 of 4 for Pride Month. So, happy Pride, everybody! I hope everyone's having a great month. I am using a microphone hooked to a pen right now. I've noticed that I have much better audio quality if it's not flopping around on my clothes, right? Everybody could have told me that. But nobody did. I just heard it for myself. So hopefully this is better. Still struggling with this cough that I've had for about fucking 6 weeks now. So that's super fun. But mostly doing great, I would say. Mostly doing great. Today we're drinking this LaCroix. Some people call it TV static in a can with it says essence. So I guess we're just breathing. This one's mojito. So we're mojito into the static of the TV. It's pretty good, I'd say, for TV static anyways. It's almost gone, but so if you like mojitos, it is kind of an acquired taste, not gonna lie. If you don't like LaCroix, don't do it. But I like LaCroix, so I'm gonna do it. Last week we got some advice from me, and I apologize, that one was a little on the shorter side. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes you're more prepared than you need to be, and sometimes you're not prepared at all. And, well, welcome to me not being prepared. Yeah, so this week we're talking about me coming out, and I think that for the most part this story is very simple, and could be told in a span of 10 seconds, but we're going to really stretch it. We're going to really stretch it out because I've come out as different things through my life, right? So I think it's important to highlight those, mostly because I think it's super normal to not be totally aware of what your sexual orientation is right out the gate. Some people are, and I think that's super fantastic. A lot of people struggle with it, and they end up doing this back and forth thing in their mind. Anyways, regardless of how you do it, it's perfect because you did it in your way, right? So, yeah, we're gonna do coming out today. This week has been kind of fast, I guess. It's just been going by really quick. I've not done a whole lot. There wasn't a whole lot of promo for last week's podcast, and I do apologize for that. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and my financial life mostly. But I just have been super fucking busy, if I'm being honest. And when I'm not busy, I don't really want to do anything but close my eyes. So that's been the situation. But I'm really excited for these next 2 episodes, including this one. These next 2 are something I'm really, really proud of. So stay tuned for the rest of the month. Let's see, any updates for you guys? I don't think there's any updates. I keep saying I'm going to put out an LA vlog. Still never did it. I don't know if it's going to happen, you guys. I really, something in me wants to be a vlogger. And I've tried really hard. If you look back on my YouTube channel, you'll see that there is many a vlog on there. But I really like to do cinematic B-roll and stuff like that. I say that like I'm some professional. It's my fucking iPhone, to be real. It's not anything crazy. But when I learned that my iPhone could shoot in 4K, I was like, okay, we could do this. It could be fine. So that's what I did for a while. But I was in a really passionate place. I had a lot of things to record. Mostly I was just really sad. Listen, and tell me if you feel the same. When you're really sad, the most creative, passionate things come out of you. I like to write a lot, but the best writing that I've ever produced has come from a place of unrelenting sadness. Is that a word? I don't know. It's really intense and super deep, and that's the best writing I've ever done, right? Same thing with I I sing, and so same thing with singing. It's the best singing that I've ever produced from my body. And that's how I feel about um, some of those cinematic videos some of those videos that I put out that are only like, I say cinematic, like literally it's not even what it is. But some of those videos that I have put out that are only like, gosh, 5 to 6 minutes, sometimes less than that, 2 minutes. And it's been, I think the first one that I put out, it's called I'm Back. And that's like some of my favorite content that I've ever produced. So check it out. Let me know if you've seen it or not. I think a lot of you that watch the YouTube version have seen a lot of my videos already. So thank you for that. Mwah, love you. Um, but anyways, I don't know if I'm gonna. I have a lot of footage from LA, and I think it'd be really fun to put together into a vlog. But it's just been so damn long now since I went. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get a hair up my ass and do it. We'll see. Editing together footage is super fun for me when I'm in the mood to do it, and then when I'm not in the mood to do it, then I'm like, whoa, it feels like a big process because I put a lot of passion in those videos. And while it may seem like it's super simple, and it may be super simple, it still comes from a place of like passion and creativity, and sometimes that can be draining, you know. Um, Anybody watching the video version today, let me know how my bun is literally as big as my whole face. My goodness. Anyways, we'll see if the vlogging happens. I don't know. Sometimes I'm good at it. Other times, not so much. Listen, when I was in LA, vlogging was easy because everyone's vlogging in LA. It was really easy to walk down the street with my phone in my face and vlog, or like with on the tripod. Like it was very easy because there was somebody doing it across the street. Like it was very easy. And didn't feel weird to vlog in stores, didn't feel weird to just vlog on the side of the road, didn't feel weird to vlog in public. And I have a love-hate relationship with LA. If I loved it more, maybe I would consider moving there and like trying harder to make a career out of this. But right now, we are having so much fun in this passion project. Let's be real. It's like my favorite thing. I love podcasting. I love podcasting, and I love all of you guys that listen to it. Thank you so much. I'm so surprised every single time when somebody tells me, "Oh yeah, I listen to your podcast." I'm like, "What? What? That's crazy. You listen to me? You turn like I get in the car and I literally am always listening to a podcast. It's like it never fails. I'm always putting a podcast on. But I get in the car and I play one of my favorite pods, and I'm like driving to work or whatever. I have like a half an hour drive into work, and yeah, I'm like listening to these podcasts. And then I have people tell me, "Oh yeah, I do that with your podcast." I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But also like so cool. It's really cool. You guys are really cool. So thank you for that. I would like for you to send it to your friend and for them to send it to their friends. And we can create a little community that bands together, and we have a lot of fun over here. So, especially during Pride Month. Nice segue, Kens. Nice. Let's get into my coming out story, you guys. So, I would say that I've always known that I was kind of a little bit different. Like I was never really like boy crazy, I would say. Like all my friends at some point in their lives started to get to that point where they were like boy crazy, and I do remember vividly pretending, like trying to be like, "Oh yeah, like I care about this boy and this is the hottest guy in school. Okay, yeah, let me like him. I have a crush on him, you know." And that happened a lot. I ended up being friends with a lot of those guys. And obviously nothing more. I think I was about 11 years old, which puts me what, sixth grade ish? Sixth grade. I would say that's when I was like, okay, like let me see here. I think maybe I'm bisexual. There was not a lot of representation like in my life, I would say. I had one lesbian couple in my life. Well, okay, listen. I would say that there's not a lot of representation, but there was a little. There was a little bit more than a lot of people get. So I'm grateful for that. But like I was a dancer growing up, and so I was around the LGBTQ community often because of like dance conventions and competitions and things. So I was around it a lot, and it was never weird to me. It never caught me off guard. My mom had a lesbian friend, and her and her girlfriend would come over all the time. Like it was never really like a weird thing to me. So I was never in a position where I felt the need to hide who I was. And I find that to be like the best thing ever. I'm very lucky that I have a family that's accepting, and that has never judged me or made me feel like I'm doing something wrong or expected anything different than just who I am. I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, when I was about 11, think that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm bisexual. It took me a couple of years to actually fully come out as bisexual. Um, I think that was a letter to my mom. I think I always do things in letter form. When I don't know how to have a conversation, I'm gonna write you a letter and like balls in your court, baby. Like that's for you to talk to me about at a later date. But I'm gonna just get it out of my head onto the paper and into your lap. That's really all that I can do. That's all I care about doing. So, um, I think it was a letter, I think. But it wasn't really a big deal. It was pretty much like super not even talked about, like whatever, because I didn't have girlfriends and stuff that they knew about. I had some girlfriends that were back in the day, in middle school, but nobody was out. Um, and I was out as bisexual even at school, and then like any girls that I was with, I think I had 2 or 3 girlfriends during middle school, between 7th and 8th grade, and obviously baby relationships, like super tiny. Nobody was out yet at all. So, but they were short-lived, I'd say. I'm actually friends with one of them still, so I'm not gonna out her, obviously. Her life is much different than it used to be, obviously. But yeah, so that was around, oh gosh, yeah, so like 7th, 8th grade, I was out as bisexual. 13, 14 years old, I would say. I was also in that state of mind of like being bisexual means that I'm still a little bit like what society would deem as normal, right? And over the years of like analyzing myself and therapy and things like that, I just had like I had some internalized homophobia that was going on. I'm not really sure where that was bred from. No idea, to be honest, because like I said, I didn't grow up in a family where that was prominent. I grew up in the place where I grew up is not overly accepting, but not homophobic. Like it's kind of weird and split depending on what part of the area that you're living in. So, um, anyways, yeah. So when I got into high school, I was mostly dating men. I dated, I had a boyfriend for, oh God, like a year. I think it was a year. It feels like it was 5 because I was literally 14. But I swear I was head over heels in love with this kid, and I was 14. It was just little puppy love, so freaking cute, right? Oh my God. Poor Ken's, if only I could tell her. But he broke my heart. That was my first heartbreak that I ever had. And that was the first time I realized that, dude, this shit hurts. This shit sucks. Um, so yeah, that was when I was like 14. I was in like 8th grade, I think. And then come high school, I was single for so much of high school, actually. Most of high school, I was single. Um, I had a couple of little boyfriends here and there or whatever, but it was never anything solidified. I had a best friend in high school, and we got really close end of sophomore year and stayed really close all the rest of the way through high school. We like walked together at graduation and stuff. And of course, I did the classic lesbian jig, and I fell in love with my best friend. I think that I'm comfortable saying that she was the first girl that I ever fell in love with. Um, which sucks because nothing ever came of it. There was a lot of confusion. I mean, story time, I guess, like there was a moment where she was like, maybe we could try this and just see what it would look like. Like we can just basically like we can just pretend 15-year-olds, right? Like this is the silliest, stupidest thing ever. But and I was, of course, like jump on that. Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. Anything to be closer to you. And I mean, like, this girl was my phone wallpaper. I was with her all the time. At school, people called us thing one and thing two because we were both short and just like running around with no shoes on all the time. We just always had our socks on. People would get mad at us for that shit, but whatever. I am a hippie child. That's just the way that it is. So get over it. Um, anyways, so there's like a moment in time where we were like pretending for a second, and I felt like, oh, massive flutters, and like I was like, wow, like this feels like very different um from any girl that I have. And mind you, at this time I had already had three girlfriends in the past. This girl I'm talking about, my best friend at the time, she had girlfriends as well, so this is like not new. um but the feelings that I was feeling in that moment, that's what was new. That's what was crazy to me. I was like, what is this? Um I think that I've had issues in the past, and mind you, this was years later. So I had been single for a long time. I hadn't been dating boys, I hadn't been dating girls, I was very confused most of the time. So I just was single Pringle, and that was it. Most of my friends were dating each other and whatever. But um I was at this point where like I never really felt comfortable in a relationship because I'd never been in a place where I felt safe enough to just let myself love somebody after that heartbreak in like 8th grade, right? It fucked me up, okay, you guys, it really did. And that was with a boy. So I was like, oh my God. And then from there, like having little things and talking to boys and things like that just started to feel like so weird and kind of off to me. So I was confused as fuck and never felt comfortable in my own skin to just let it go until that day when she was like, yeah, we can pretend and just like see what that looks like, at least for the night or whatever. And and we didn't even do anything. We didn't even do anything. I was just close enough to her to be able to cuddle and touch her face and like skin to skin contact or whatever, but like so innocently. It was such an innocent little like fairy tale in my brain. And it gave me these feelings that I've never felt before in my entire life. And at that point is when I was like, well, okay, maybe there's something going on here. So that was the spiral that started to happen in my brain. I was like, maybe I'm not bisexual, but wait a minute, I have to be because I need to be what, again, like society says is normal. I need to be with a man. I need to marry a man. I need to have babies. I need to, all of this, right? That society talks about. And so, oh, I just gave myself goosebumps talking about this. Anyways, so I started dating men. I had, oh, geez, one, two, three. I had like three or four boyfriends. Like, yeah, I had four. Um, yeah, I had four boyfriends back to back. I started having it's so weird to talk about. I started having sex with men when I was young and trying to figure out what was going on. And I say with men, but there was not very many of them. And one of them I wouldn't even count because 3 minutes is like not a thing, and it wasn't even 3 minutes. So there's that. Shade. Anyways, not to give you guys like a super huge glimpse into my teenage sex life, but um, I was trying to figure out who the fuck I was. And then I started dating this kid, and we had been talking for a long time. He was part of my friend group, and everybody, itchy nose, and everybody in our friend group was very much like, duh, you guys should date, you know? And so, um, yeah, we started dating, and it took a really long time for him to want to be with me. wanted to be with like every other girl around me for a really long time. And then, to be honest, flashback to a couple episodes ago, I had an eating disorder and I lost a bunch of weight. And then he was interested in me. So that's a side note for anybody who wants to know that. But anyways, so him and I started dating. I'm actually in his senior pictures. Sorry about that. I don't think he listens to this, but if you do, I'm I'm terribly sorry that I'm in your senior pictures because you have to stare at me all the time, or at least your parents do. I don't know, and your current whoever you're with, right? Anyway, so we were dating for not very long, not very long before I was like, I don't know, dude. There's something off. There's something going on. Um, I stopped talking to him for a couple of weeks. Mind you, we're still dating at this time, and that's very silly. I stopped talking to him for a couple of weeks, trying to figure out my shit. I was journaling a lot. I was writing, I was writing a lot. I was like doing a lot of like self discovery things. And I found this girl on YouTube, and her handle used to be Lesbian Answers. Jenna was her name. I think she's got she has YouTube videos up still, but it's not under Lesbian Answers anymore. I think she's on TikTok now. I don't know. She was older than me. I mean, obviously she's older than me. She's still kicking it. Good. Anyway, but watching her content is actually what pushed me to confront my queerness, like straight up, face to face, you know? And so, yeah, watching her content, and then I found the lesbian community on YouTube, and that was crazy. Allie Hills, Stevie, Now This Is Living, which is Shannon Beveridge, Cami, Cami Scott, um, the Amy Ordman. I found like this, and if you know lesbian YouTube from like years ago, then you know what I'm talking about. Most of them have podcasts now, so like look them up because they're fantastic and we love them. So anyways, God, I used to go to school. I used to go to school and avoid him at all costs. I knew his schedule, and I was able to kind of go where I knew he wasn't going to be. And so I walked into a back hallway one day, and for some reason, he was there. And that my first instinct was to just turn around and run away. So I did. I didn't run, but I turned around, and then he called my name. And I'm like, oh God, I can't act like I didn't hear him. I definitely heard him. I have to face this. I have to face it now. And this was the day after I came out to my best friend, not the one I was in love with. With Carson, a couple episodes back. I came out to her, and her first response was, finally. Okay. Um, and so I was well aware and on my way to being an out lesbian. Okay. So I turn around and I'm walking over to him. I'm like, hey, how y'all doing? You know that one TikTok sound? Anyway. So I walked over to him, and he starts off by saying something along the lines of, where have you been? I've been worried about you. I miss you. I haven't talked to you in a long time, blah, blah, blah. He starts just speaking, and everything turns into like this mumble, and I started to kind of feel like hot around my ears, and I was like, I cut him off mid-sentence, and I said, I'm gay. And he was like, what? And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm a lesbian. I'm gay, and it has nothing to do with you, and it's not your fault, and you didn't make me this way, and I'm sorry that this is what's happened and how this had to turn out between us, but um you're not, I can't be with you anymore, broke up with him literally right there. We had a pretty good friendship for a little while. He was like, I totally understand. It turns out it affected him a little bit more than what he led on that day. That's story time for another day. But him and I lost contact after graduation. We connected once before, after being like, it was like 4 years after graduating, 4 or 5 years after graduating. And that was for a very brief moment. And then after that, Not an enchilada. No idea where he's at. I hope he's doing good. Hope you're doing well. If you listen to this, that'd be so weird if he listens to this, but I then oh, yeah, that's how I came out to him, and that was the last boyfriend I ever had. But my parents though, and you'll hear a little bit more about this. I will have my mom on in the next couple of episodes, which stay tuned because I'm really excited to have her on the pod. Anyway, I came out to my mom in a letter. Who called it? I just told you. Do everything in a letter. So I came out to my mom in a letter, and she didn't talk about it for a long time, and I was sweating fucking bullets because I was like, bro, this is a different situation. And then one day she was like, hey, I got your letter. And I shit bricks for a minute. And she said, so that mean you're not going to be with boys anymore? I said, no. And she said, okay. And that was the end of that conversation. And then I don't know how I came out to my dad. He told me that. I just told him one day, and that was that. I think the hardest one was maybe my grandma, but once I explained to her the whole grandkid situation, she was fine. And funny story, funny story about my stepdad. When I came out to him, I had like walked out of the garage, and he was in the garage, and I was going to leave the house, and he said, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm going to my girlfriend's house. And he was like, pause. This girl that's your friend? And I said, no, no, no. Mm-mm. My girlfriend. And he just looked at me, and he said, huh, well, at least you won't get pregnant. And he literally never said anything else about it ever again. Not one single time. And I find that to be the funniest thing in the world. My siblings were all super accepting of it. I've got a bunch of gay siblings on my dad's side anyways. My like I say gay siblings, but I've got cousins that are basically little sisters. So I've got three queer sisters. I've got a queer cousin. She's married to her wife, and yeah, we're just a bunch of queers over here. Not a bunch of us, but nobody has ever given me shit for being who I am, and I think that that's the coolest thing that anybody can do. Honestly, just let you be who you are. I will say that in recent times, I tell people that my sexual orientation is a lesbian, um, because I simply don't want to explain to them what polysexual is. Polysexual just basically is some but not all, while pansexual is all, right? Um, and I fall into that polysexual area because people who are non-binary I will also date. Um, and so that's the most recent situation. Anytime I say polysexual, people think polyamorous, and those are very different things. First of all, polyamory is a relationship style, not a sexual orientation. So there's that. Um, there is one that is it demisexual? I can't remember. Let me grab my iPad really quick. Hold on. I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure if it is or not. So let's look. We're just here at the end of the pod if you've made it this far. Um, let's see. Let me know in the comments by leaving the cherry emoji, because I think that that's gay. I mean, aside from the pride flag, right? Aside from the pride flag. But let's not be too obvious, okay, you guys? Just leave me the cherry emoji if you've made it this far. My iPad is loading. Give it 2 seconds. Da, da, da. A sexual orientation where a person feels sexually attracted to someone only after developing a close or strong emotional bond with them. Listen, I fall semi in this category. I realized that I can't develop a a sexual connection with somebody unless I have some sort of emotional bond with them or something. So I've never been one to be able to sleep around since I came out. I mean, I have. Yes. I've had my slut days, right? But no shame. Also, everybody live it up in your slut days, okay? Do it. Just be safe about it. And I probably will again, but I do have to have like some sort of conversation and connection with somebody. So I guess now I identify as demisexual and polysexual, and on rare occasions where I don't want to explain that, I'm a lesbian and I'm not going to sleep with you unless I like you. At least on some sort of level. Now you guys know all of my coming out stories. That's all of my coming out stories. Like, it's one big coming out story. You know what's crazy is that I started coming out to myself at age 11, right? And then I started coming out to people around me at like age 13 when I came out as bisexual. And then I came out again at 17. Damn, I was bisexual for 5 years, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No, 4 years. Math. You think that I'd be good at it? I usually am pretty good at math, actually. Okay. Yeah, I came out when I came out, I knew something was weird at 11. I came out as bisexual at 13-ish. Came out as a lesbian at 17. Came out as polysexual in 2021. That was 4 years ago? No. What the fuck? I can't do any math. It's 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, I was 26. So when I was 26, I came out as polysexual because I just found out what it was. And then demisexual is a very recent development that I've realized since I've been single. Yeah. Well, guys, that's the end of it. There's nothing more to say about me. Nothing more. Next week, you can expect a couple of familiar faces and a couple of new faces. I'm really excited for next week's episode, you guys. It's going to be fucking bomb. I would suggest, if you are an audio listener, to video watch as well next week. It's going to be a good one. And then the weekend after that, we've got my mom. So, yeah. Stay tuned for some really awesome Pride content. Thanks for listening to my coming out story, and thank you for tuning in. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Again, love ya. Bye.